Hello, fellow orchid lovers. I hope you guys have all been doing well. It's been a little while since I've been able to post. So I just wanted to bring you in actually to check out my Miltoniopsis. It's been a while actually since I've highlighted these orchids and they're doing really well. So I wanted to just kind of go over briefly what their status is. They don't grow here in the grow room because it's a little too hot and not humid, but it's a little too hot. Let's just say that for these plants. They really didn't thrive very well in here when I had them in here. So they actually grow in my master bathroom on a windowsill. The windowsill points northwest. So they do get some afternoon light, and I don't filter the light for them. It actually is direct sunlight that they get in the afternoon. And I know that that's a no-no according to, you know, typical Miltoniopsis wisdom, but they seem to really enjoy it. As you can see, we have several in bloom and one in bud. So we'll just go through them really quickly. I did want to share them with you with all three of the spikes open, but that one right there, the blooms are starting to fade. So I figured I'd bring it in now so you could at least see those blooms. And I can always show you that spike later. So this is my favorite flower. I actually have two. I have this one and I have this one. This one I've had for quite a while, and I didn't know that it was an Andrea West because I was really killing Miltoniopsis left and right there when I first started growing them. So I had a little piece of a plant left over, but I wasn't sure what it belonged to or who it was until she bloomed. So I actually have two. This is a really old piece that I've had for quite a while, and then this is one that I got in the summer, I believe. It was a freebie from Calipana Tropicals. It came in an order. It was actually a bigger plant, but she had like that orange rot on the pseudobulbs, and so I kind of just pared her down a little bit here. So she was left with two pseudobulbs, and then she has since then grown a new growth. Her growth is not normal though, so she's still not really doing that well. But she did bloom on the new growth, but she bloomed on the new growth before it had really formed its pseudobulb. And you can see here the leaves are all crinkled. She didn't have a fantastic root system. She still doesn't. So basically I just try to keep her more on the dry side. I know that's another thing that they say about Miltoniopsis, that you want to keep them you know, pretty moist, but I don't actually. I go to the other side. I don't keep them like dry, but I really don't water them that frequently. I only give them a water once a week. So I fill the water up in their cup and I leave it like that for like 15 minutes, and then I drain it all off. And whatever moisture is left in the glass, that's all they get for the week. I just watered them, so you can see her roots are pretty damp, but I won't water her again for a week, and she's got nothing left in the glass. So like you can see, there's humidity, but that's it. That's all she's gonna have for the week. Now the new growth, it is putting out some new roots, so that's good, but a lot of the tips are not happy. But I don't think this plant is 100% healthy, so I'm not really surprised. As you can see, the new growth didn't, or you can't because I totally took you out of frame. The new growth really didn't form. It still looks like a new growth, but there is a pseudobulb in there, and she's working on two new growths. Instead of one, she's doing two. So she did bloom, and now she's got two new growths coming. So hopefully those new growths, at least one of them, will put out a good root system, and we can reestablish this plant. Now I'll just go right to the same one. As you can see, beautiful. I mean, this is my favorite Miltoniopsis. Gorgeous, like butter yellow, beautiful colors in the throat, and it's just really a beautiful color. And I know that the camera's washing it out a little bit, so you're seeing it more white, but it is truly a very beautiful yellow and extremely fragrant. extremely fragrant. These two flowers make my whole master bathroom smell beautiful. So yeah, highly recommend this particular Miltoniopsis if you like yellow and you like fragrant. Really, really good. So this was actually a huge, beautiful, magnificent plant that, again, I didn't know how to grow these. I was trying to follow popular wisdom. I wasn't giving them a ton of light because I was, you know, popular wisdom is they don't like a lot of light, and also that they like to be kept pretty moist, and I was killing them. So I have since decided to try to find my own way with these. And as I've shared this with you before, I'm doing my version of semi-hydro. So I have the glass beads. They don't retain any moisture. And then, you know, the root system goes down into the glass bead. She does have a pretty extensive root system at this point, as you can see. Again, I put the water up to the top of the glass beads, let it sit there for 15 minutes, and then drain it off, and that's all she gets for the week. So by the time I come back to water her, the top roots will be completely dry, and this will be white. The roots will go back to white. So she'll be dry by the time I water her again, which again, you know, if you live in a more arid climate, that might not be good for you, Miltoniopsis, but for me, upstate New York, it's pretty humid. It's been very hot lately, actually. But they've been fine. And I do give them direct sunlight at the end of the day. And as you can see, the leaves are a beautiful green color. This all happened when I left the window open and she got rain on her. And actually that killed the spike on her. Or was it? I think it was the other one. Anyways, I left the window open and I left the house. And while I was gone, there was like a pop-up storm. And I guess the rain was just really cold and it did this damage. So it is what it is. But anyways, this is, she put out 2 new growths. This one's a little bit farther behind. As you can see, it's still developing and it may bloom. She's a tiny plant. Her pseudobulbs are really small, but she blooms on every growth. As you can see, this is, you know, a spike from last year. So she put out 2 new growths this year. This one's a little bit more far advanced, and it does have a spike, which, like I said, very, very fragrant, beautiful smell. And then this one's a little farther behind, so we may see another spike. But in a general sense, she's really a tiny plant, but I mean, she was almost dead. I literally saved a new growth off of the plant, and this is what I've had to grow on. She had, you know, once she finally started blooming, but that process, I think, took me 1.5 years, 2 years to get her to the point of blooming again. So when a plant does something like this, a lot of times people will just throw it out because they don't want to put the time into it. But I'm very stubborn, and I figured I'd rather learn how to grow them on a plant that's already on its way out and see if I can save it. Because if I can save it, then that means then I can teach myself how to grow them. So I think I have figured out what works in my environment. So those are my 2 Andrea West. This one, I don't know what it is. Again, it was in the similar boat of this one. I got them around the same time. I didn't really know what I was doing. It suffered. It almost died. I was able to save, you know, a new growth. It in turn grew a new growth, still didn't bloom. Then it rotted a growth, still didn't bloom. Now it's got another beautiful growth. Again, small pseudobulb, but a nice new growth, which is also getting a new growth, but actually it's also going to bloom. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get you. Do you see there in the leaf joint? There's a spike starting. So I might actually finally know what this one is. It could be a number of things because I did buy quite a few Miltoniopsis at one point because I just think they're beautiful. And when they're fragrant, they're very, very beautiful. And I kind of just, when I was frustrated, I had a piece of an old jade plant that I threw in a glass, and I just threw this one in, and now their root system is completely bound together. So there's really no separating them. So they are buddies. This is my Haijami Ono. This one is the one that I had a spike on it last year, but the rainstorm that put these marks on the Andrea West killed the spike. The water got down in the leaf joint and it killed the spike. So I haven't seen these blooms in a couple years, and I was so excited last year that she got a spike, and then amazingly disappointed when I left the window open and the spike died. But as you can see, she is recovering as well. She's got a spike, she's got 2 blooms. Again, small pseudobulbs, but they are spiking, and she's getting a very good root system. So as you can see, you know, I would consider that a good root system, especially on a Miltoniopsis. I just watered her, like I said. You can see some water, but that's in the 2 cups, but you know, between, because I do the double cup. So the water's actually in between the cups. But there's a fair amount of moisture in this cup, and it will last for quite a while. So by the time next week rolls around and it's time to water her, some of the roots on the very bottom might still be a little green, but up here will be completely dry. And that's my routine with them, and it seems to work. And like I said, they do get some bright sunlight and beautiful green leaves. Not too yellow, not too pale. So, and then my main success story, this is the first Miltoniopsis that I bought that did not go into a downward spiral. So I think I have finally figured out what works for these plants in my environment. This one, I purchased it because on the website it said Rogue Picardy, but it's actually Rouge. So, but I purchased it because my dog that passed away, her name was Rogue. And so I thought, oh my goodness, I can have an orchid that's named after her. Of course, the website had it listed wrong, but still, she's still Rogue, regardless of what the tag says. The website has corrected it, but she's still Rogue to me. So anyways, I got her last year. She, like I said, she never really spiraled out of control. She didn't have a good root system, but I put her immediately into my setup. She did look like she wanted to spiral out of control, and I cut off her spike, which I don't typically do, and I put her in the setup, and I said, all right, we're gonna see what she does. As you can see, I got her with a tiny little pseudobulb, and her next growth was this huge monster. So I think that jump kind of exhausted her a bit. And that might be why the spike was really pulling too much of her energy. So I did cut it off. I put her in this setup. She got this new growth, which again, the pseudobulb is smaller, but I don't really care. She did put out a pretty good spike. I mean, 5 blooms on a first spike for me, that's pretty good. So again, she did not spiral. I did not have to rescue her like I had to do with those other ones. So as far as roots are concerned, there's a lot of algae in her cup, so it's kind of hard to see, but you can see there she's got a lot of new roots that she got off of that new growth that she put out for me. So I think that I have successfully transferred her. She's my first successful non-spiraling transfer to my waterculture method. And the blooms are really pretty. They are fragrant. They're not as fragrant as the Andrea West. Before this bloomed, if you walked by the window, you would smell her. Now that this has bloomed, this kind of took over. So you don't really smell this anymore. And unfortunately, the spike is on its way out. But this has been open for quite a while. I've been really remiss as far as updating you guys on my orchids lately. It's been, to say hectic, it would be putting it mildly. So I did want to share this spike with you before now, but it's here. You get to see it before it goes away. So really generously sized flower as well. And I love how these petals are so deep, velvety, beautiful. And like I said, she is one of the ones that is fragrant. So not all Miltoniopsis I find are actually fragrant. Like they have like that slight rose petal smell to them if you get your face really far in there. But some of them actually have a fragrance that you don't even have to go near them and you can smell it. And this is one of them. And then this one is, yeah. So anyways, that's my Miltoniopsis. They're doing really, really well. If you have any questions about my setup, I will answer them. It's just basically my semi-hydro with the glass beads and the double cup that I can drain the water out. But yeah, so they're doing really good. I think I have figured out a method for growing these that I can successfully do it in my environment. So I hope you guys are all having a great day, and I will talk to you all next time.